In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this war room that is made for about a medium-sized tribe. Subscribe and like the video. I'm going to start off by choosing one of the lunar pipes over in Gen 2 because they dip down, so I can show people how to work out foundation support to make a roof, like to hold your base on. I'm going to start with a pillar and some foundations, and I'm going to continue that across, which will give the future floor foundation support all the way across, because the foundation support runs all the way through the bottom and holds the ceiling up. You want to make sure the foundation support is neat so you don't have any turrets LOS if you do put internals, and you want to make sure all of the foundations are connected so you don't have random wasted foundations LOSing turrets under your base. Right here I sped it up so it wouldn't take so long just to show foundation support, but as you can see, I connected the ceiling to the pillar, and I kept running foundations so I could make the rest of the ceilings connect. Foundation support is about 2 or 3 ceilings wide, so you can space it out so you lose less resources when you're building, which is pretty nice when you're building a big base like this. But enough with foundation support. I'm going to move on how to line up indies. Once you're done with the floor, you want to start on the indie line, and what you're going to need for that is, to start, you need double door frames, and then after that you're going to want Indi Forges. I use about maybe 16 or 20 of them in this video, but to start you want to equip the double door frames, and then you want to go to the corner you want to start in. And what I do right here is I make the line go all the way down the floor, and this is going to make a spot where all the indies are going to sit on. And running back to the beginning, I'm going to place a ceiling between 2 double door frames, and that's where the Indi Forge is going to rest on for now. But this is how you stack an Indi Forge with a hatch frame. You put the 2 ceilings in between 2 double door frames, and you want to back the forge up and place it centered with it. You want to place it as far back as you can, and you want to make sure it's lined up with the 2 ceilings, or your line's going to be not straight like the one in the video. But you can use the line after 2 ceilings as a center point. But after you have the Indi Forge placed, I forgot to grab hatch frames. You need giant metal hatch frames for this. You take the hatch frames, and I'm gonna equip them instead of fucking ramp BP. You place it connected to the 2 double door frames, and you can demo that last ceiling. But I'm gonna speed it up because it is a long clip of me finishing this line. But I just go around and I finish the line up. You skip a ceiling in between, and you want to back up the forges as much as you can. I messed up here, so I had to replace the Indi Forges. But if you want to play it safe, you could place them one at a time. And I go around destroying the ceilings. I do it on the other side as well, because that's how we had it. We had 2 rows. But I mean, I just line it up. I mean, I was going quick in the video, so it wasn't very straight. But what you can do to make it straight is use the 2 ceilings underneath the forges as a ruler to line them up. This next one, I'm going to do about the same thing. I'm going to make a few double door frames go across, and I'm going to line up a replicator this time, and I'm going to pull it forward because I want it as forward as it could be. And I place it. I do the hatch frame glitch where you place it in the middle, then you can demo that ceiling. It's pretty hard because the rep was in my way. I ended up not deleting it. but I extended out one, but the rep was too big, so I had to extend it out with one wall in between the reps. I bring that one forward too. I squeeze it in, and I get ready to place it. It looks good. Put the hatch frame underneath it so you could access it, and that's how I got 2 reps floating right next to each other. On the bottom, you want to start with 3 chem benches in a line so it's even. You might want to use ladders, but I didn't use ladders. You gotta remove this wall because it blocks you from placing, and make sure the chem benches go all the way around. But you go 3 on another side. I was going quick, but you might want to use a ladder. I flipped around for OCD purposes. It looks ugly if the chem benches are both facing the wrong direction. But I just tried to get this right, but I couldn't. But if you go quick enough, you should be able to pick them up. If you do it wrong, like I did, you can go out more. I mean, it wouldn't make a difference. The chem benches would just be a little bit away. But I keep going. I get it eventually, right there. Moving on to the middle, you want to place 3 walls. And then for the first steady, you want to place it back into the wall a little bit. But after that, you want to deady up. And then put the last wall so you could place the ramp. And once you ramp up, you can place the last 2 deadies. And then moving on the back, you want to place like around the first 2 squares. And then you want to put hatch frames in the middle of each placement. And then after you do that, it's pretty equal, so you can start on the top chem benches. And then you just line them up, just like the other ones. You want to make sure you don't fall in that hole, like I did. What you could do is place ceilings in the corners before the hatch frames, so you're not falling in these holes every time, which is what my tribe used to do. They used to fall in those holes in the corners. I'd have to help them out. But after you have your last chem bench placed, you have an 18 chem bench station. You can access them all. Like, none of them are inaccessible. You can access them all, and now you have an 18 chem bench station to farm fat ARV from. After I'm done with that, I get to working on the cryo fridges. I'm going to start by figuring out where I want to place them and where I want the transmitter to be. I took this area because I thought it would be a good area to put it. The mistake that I made was I uncovered that one pillar that held the whole base up, and the problem with that is if I didn't have a different pillar holding it up, the whole base would have collapsed, which, good thing it didn't. I would avoid placing the transmitter first because it makes it hard to place cryo fridges later on when you're making the floors. But I just go around, I make sure that has foundation support, make sure it's not ugly sticking through the floor. But once it has foundation support, I go around making the slot holders for the cryo fridges. You want to make sure all the ceilings are the same height so the fridges don't stick up in a weird way and make it look weird. You want to make sure all the walls are facing the same direction, because you don't want the cryo fridges to be uneven and lined up like an inch away from the other ones, which will happen if you have the walls facing the wrong way. But once you're done placing the walls in the guidelines for the fridges, you can start working on the floors. I can't believe my friends made me do this, but they made me craft all the cryo fridges and they made me place them all for the video. But For the cryo fridges, you want to make them as far back as you can, and you can turn your sensitivity down for this, but you want to tap the button and slide the cryo fridges toward you when you're placing. And I'm just going through, finishing each floor, making it straight. All the cryo fridges should be straight after this. None of them should be out of line. But that's all for the cryo fridges. Right here, I'm gonna go back and replace the transmitter and make sure it's straight and centered. You don't want it to look ugly. Replace the hatch frame. And next I'm gonna work on vaults. You wanna make space in the floor and make sure it's even, just like the cryo fridges. You don't want it uneven. I like to wall that off because it looks stupid if you don't. Once you have the spot for your vault line ready, you want to grab your vault and make sure your ladder is facing the right way. Bring the vault closer to you, and then you want to place it as far left as you can. Same with the rest of the vaults. You can just start walking right and placing them as close as you can to the last vault you placed. And for the top ones, you can use thatch for this, but I place a double door frame and then I place ceilings all across the top. This is going to be for the second line of vaults. You want to orbit cam and make sure they're lined up correctly. I didn't make sure the front was lined up. You want to make sure that's lined up or it's going to look gross. But same as last time, you just walk right placing the vaults. And this allows you to not have to look up and down while placing. And you can demo the double door frame and you can access all of them. For beds, I would place them like that normally so you could access 6 vaults at once, but it didn't work, so I just placed them so you can access 2 vaults at once, put beds in between each one, and that's how you make a vault line. Subscribe and like the video.